Chapter 5. My father meets some tigers. Ooh, that's a little worrisome. Tigers? The river was very wide and muddy, and the jungle was very gloomy and dense. The trees grew close to each other, and what room there was between them was taken up by great high ferns with sticky leaves. My father hated to leave the beach, but he decided to start along the river bank, where at least the jungle wasn't quite so thick. He ate 3 tangerines, making sure to keep all the peels this time, and put on his rubber boots. My father tried to follow the river bank, but it was very swampy, and as he went farther, the swamp became deeper. When it was almost as deep as his boot tops, he got stuck in the oozy, mucky mud. My father tugged and nearly pulled his boots right off, but at last he managed to wade to a drier place. There's a tiger. Here the jungle was so thick that he could hardly see where the river was. He unpacked his compass and figured out the direction he should walk in order to stay near the river. But he didn't know that the river made a very sharp curve away from him just a little way beyond. And so as he walked straight ahead, he was getting farther and farther away from the river. Oh, I see. The jungle's so dense he doesn't even see that the river is going the other direction and curving away. I hope he doesn't get lost. It was very hard to walk in the jungle. The sticky leaves of the ferns caught in my father's hair, and he kept tripping over roots and rotten logs. Sometimes the trees were clumped so closely together that he couldn't squeeze between them and had to walk a long way around. He began to hear whispery noises, but he couldn't see any animals anywhere. The deeper into the jungle he went, the surer he was that something was following him. And then he thought he heard whispery noises on both sides of him as well as behind. He tried to run, but he tripped over more roots, and the noises only came nearer. Once or twice, he thought he heard something laughing at him. At last he came out into a clearing and ran right into the middle of it so that he could see anything that might try to attack him. Was he surprised when he looked and saw 14 green eyes coming out of the jungle all around the clearing. And when the green eyes turned into 7 tigers. The tigers walked around him in a big circle, looking hungrier all the time. And then they sat down and began to talk. I suppose you thought we didn't know you were trespassing in our jungle. Then the next tiger spoke. I suppose you're going to say you didn't know it was our jungle. Did you know that not one explorer has ever left this island alive? Said the third tiger. My father thought of the cat and knew this wasn't true, but of course he had too much sense to say so. One doesn't contradict a hungry tiger. The tigers went on talking in turn. You're our first little boy, you know. I'm curious to know if you're especially tender. Maybe you think we have regular meal times, but we don't. We just eat whenever we're feeling hungry, said the fifth tiger. And we're very hungry right now. In fact, I can hardly wait, said the sixth tiger. I can't wait, said the seventh tiger. And then all the tigers said together in a loud roar, let's begin right now. And they moved in closer. Oh, no, I'm so worried. My father looked at those 7 hungry tigers, and then he had an idea. He quickly opened his knapsack and took out the chewing gum. The cat had told him that tigers were especially fond of chewing gum, which was very scarce on Wild Island. So he threw them each a piece, but they only growled. As fond as we are of chewing gum, We're sure we'd like to eat you even better." And they moved so close that he could feel them breathing on his face. "But this is very special chewing gum," said my father. "If you keep on chewing it long enough, it will turn green, and then if you plant it, it will grow more chewing gum. And the sooner you start chewing, the sooner you'll have more." The tiger said, "Why, you don't say. Isn't that fine?" And as each one wanted to be the first to plant the chewing gum, they all unwrapped their pieces and began chewing as hard and fast as they could. Every once in a while, one tiger would look into another's mouth and say, "Nope, it's not done yet," until finally they were all so busy looking into each other's mouths to make sure that no one was getting ahead that they forgot all about my father. Oh, that was a good trick. That was a good one. Okay, let's take a break and talk. That was a fun chapter. He outsmarted the tigers. He outsmarted them. That was great. But before he found the tigers, he got out his compass and he figured out which direction he should be going. So he did use his compass to find his way. It ended up not working because he didn't know that the river made a very sharp curve away from him, just a little way beyond. Let's go and look at the back of the book, because the back of the book has a nice map. Look at this. So there's the island of Tangerina. There's the port of Cranberry. There's the town. And here's Wild Island. And he walked around Wild Island until he found the river. And he started going. He got his compass out and he said, "Oh, got to go that way." But then the river made a sharp curve away from him. And he didn't know it. And he couldn't see it because the jungle was so thick. Trees, 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 bushes, bushes. Couldn't see the river. So he knew how to use a compass, but he didn't know about the landscape and the river direction. So it ended up not helping. That's too bad. Can you plant gum and grow more gum? Does that work? I've never tried it. I don't think it will work. But I've only planted seeds. I love gardening. And I've planted lots of seeds. And most of them have grown. Some haven't. I've never tried planting gum. I think this is an experiment. This is a good science experiment. If you like the idea of science experiments, or you've thought about being a scientist, or you like to see what happens with things, I think you should ask your parents to get you a pack of gum. Yeah, you need a pack of gum for this, right? Right? Pack of gum. Yeah. In the name of science. And then some of the pieces you should chew. That's what Elmer tells the tigers. They got to chew it, chew it, chew it until it turns green. And then plant it to grow more gum. So I think you should chew some of the pieces. See if you can chew them enough to turn them green, or maybe get a flavor of gum that is green gum, and plant them like seeds. And then plant some of the pieces of gum without chewing them. Maybe they'll grow and you don't even have to chew them. Maybe Elmer just told the tigers to chew them to preoccupy them and get them distracted so he could escape. And then you should also plant some seeds, which should grow. Seeds are supposed to grow. That's where plants come from. Almost all plants, not quite all, but almost all. Get some seeds at the store. Take some seeds out of your apple that you eat for snack, out of your orange, out of your tangerine. Plant those with your gum, with your chewed gum. Water it every day, put it out in the sun,
and see if anything grows. And if your gum grows, I hope you'll tell me how you did it, because then I'm going to do it. I want to grow gum. But no matter what happens, you could leave comments under this video, because there's a place where you can write comments. I would love to read about your science experiments. Let's get back to the story.